Today we're going to do is we're going to share a little bit about the buyer focus velocity selling system uh, to up your bottom line, basically based on my book Up Your Bottom Line with you. Now, if we're all on board, I'm ready to start. So good afternoon, everybody. Good evening in different parts of the world, and certainly good morning to our people coming in from Asia and the Middle East. Thank you for spending investing your time with us over the next hour. We're going to take a little bit of time and we're going to run through the velocity selling system, and we're going to spend an hour or so, and we will be done shortly afterwards. So if I can get started here, I'm just going to take you through our slide presentation and share with you some of the things that we're going to share. What you're about to discover is a proven four-step system that quickly and easily increases your sales. And of course, how do you up your bottom line? It's through sales. A lot of people have to understand that sales is by far one of the most important professions in the world. Without sales, there's no transactions. Without transactions, there's no revenue. Without revenue, organizations would not exist and no one would have a job. So sales is the bottom line to every organization. But here's the thing about today that's going to be something different, and maybe not for all of you, because some of you attended my programs in the past in various parts of the world. What I'm going to teach you today is the opposite of selling. Let me ask you a question. Do you prefer to be sold or do you prefer to buy? The answer I always get is people prefer to buy. So what I'm going to do today is share with you a buyer-focused selling system. One that facilitates the buying process by attracting, engaging, and empowering buyers to buy. Now, have you ever wondered what it'd be like to have buyers buying your products and services without any strain or struggle, without having to do your dog and pony shows? Do you want to easily surpass your sales goals each and every month? Another great one is, would you like to stop chasing buyers and have buyers chasing you? And this is one of the key things of this program as well. And of course, there's also would you like to have an increased self-worth and net worth so that you too can live the life of your dreams? Because what we're about to share with you will cover all these elements. We're talking about making more money, driving the kind of cars you want to drive, taking the vacations that you'd like to take, and even living in the house of your dreams that you'd like to have. What you need to understand is it all starts with you. You are the foundation to your own success. And the greatest skill that you can master in no matter what career you're in is a sales skill. Now, we don't want to share with you traditional selling skills. That's long gone. That's the past. We're into a new wave now. We're into a wave of buyers. It's now a new economy of buyers, and we have to appeal to them. So what we're going to do over the next hour, we're going to expose to you the real reasons why most sales organizations struggle. We're going to share with you the deadly sins most salespeople make, which is costing them a fortune. And then I'm going to share with you my simple four-step sales system for making sales with zero objections from your buyers, because you will be engaging them and empowering them all the way along. So by the time we're finished, which should be in about 50 minutes or so, I promise you two things. You'll discover a new systematic approach to sales that's going to help you and is going to help you up your sales, your bottom line, and your profits. You'll make more money using this system with less amount of effort, and I guarantee that to you. You will realize how your sales cycles will shorten. Now, how to get the most value out of this webinar? Remove all your distractions. Put your focus here. Pull out a pen and paper and feel free to take notes. Also, ask questions on the right-hand side. You'll notice that there's a box there. The questions are there for that reason. At the end of the seminar, I will ask those questions. So keep putting in those questions and we will get to them shortly. Finally, at the end of the webinar, for those of you who stayed at the very end, I'm going to give you a free bonus, the new economy of buyers, and why traditional and consultative selling methods no longer work. This will help you understand the new economy of buyers and what you may be doing wrong and how you could turn things around that will help you shorten your sales cycle, increase your margins, your revenues, and ultimately up your bottom line. Now that's not all. You're also going to get an invitation to join my Elite Sales Training Program. Now I'm going to limit this to 10 people only today, but this is going to be a unique opportunity for a select few. Now, for those of you who don't know me, Who is Bob? That's a great question. Um, Basically, I'm an accomplished speaker, trainer, author. I've traveled the world. I've consulted with Fortune 500 companies, small businesses, mid-sized businesses, basically to empower and add sales velocity to their bottom line. To date, I've spoken in more than 1,000 cities, and as I mentioned earlier, in over 45 countries. I just came back from Kuwait, which was country number 47, and I've spoken to audiences as large as 10,000 participants. I've shared the stage with many renowned um, businesses or speakers, business speakers, from Robert Kiyosaki to Brian Tracy and others, and I'm very fortunate. Now, just to get a little bit of background about myself, I was born in a small family business. I really didn't have a childhood. I didn't play sports. I didn't ride a bicycle after school. I went back home and helped my family grow the business. By the time I was 11 years old, I was running that business. By the time I was 18, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I decided to go to college. I didn't know what I wanted to go into, so I took a business administration course. The next thing you know, after the first semester, I ended up getting 5 A's out of 6 subjects. And in the end, after 3 years, graduated with honors, a distinction in honors. And when I look back at that, I realized that where I got that education was from my parents when I was young, by getting involved in business. And I was the only one in our family that really got involved in the sales side, where everyone else got involved in the operations. So right there, give thanks to my parents for sharing with me the importance of sales. Once I graduated, I got approached and I got involved in network marketing. And it was cosmetics of all things. It was a great experience. It was one of the toughest jobs I ever had to do, but it was a great experience and I had a lot of success with it. From there, I moved into commission sales. Commission sales, anywhere from real estate right through to door-to-door sales with, believe it or not, home security systems and fire alarms. After quite an experience, I guess a couple of years in that area, I got into corporate sales. I got involved with an oil company and a land development company and got involved in executive boardroom sales. And this was the highlight of my career because these were multi-million-dollar transactions. And up to this point, believe it or not, I still had not had any formal sales training. It was basically going back to my youth and some basic principles that my parent taught me about sales. Sales is basically human interaction. How we treat others, how we approach them, how we build our relationships is all part of sales. And I'm going to share with you some of these things as we go further on. Anyways, having said all this, I've also been self-employed. I've done very well in business for myself in a number of different occasions, but I must also admit that around age 30, I lost it all. And I hit the biggest downturn in my life. I had made a lot of money in 1 week in land sales. I made over $100,000 in commissions in less than 5 days. This was supported by an article on the front page of the business section. Now's the time to buy land in West Quebec. And the phone kept ringing off the hook and I sold it all very quickly. Now, mind you, there was 6 months of advanced preparation to make this happen. It was a great success. However, I also knew this was going to happen, so I took an option on some land. The minute I made the transactions, I realized I had revenue coming in. So what I did is I reinvested and started another business. I spent more than I was going to make. Long story short, they decided not to pay me. And I had to go through the court system to get my money. Well, when I was hitting 30, I had 5 major goals. They were all in the palm of my hand. And within hours, I lost them all. And I was shot back down to ground zero and had to start all over again. Well, I could tell you today, as much as that was the lowest point of my life, it was a point of my life where I learned my greatest lessons. And I started over again. One of the key things I did right there was I had to get a job to carry cash flow. I ended up, this was in the 1980s, I ended up with 13 loans of $10,000 each at 22% interest each. My mortgage came up at 19.5%. My wife's pregnant with our second child, and I had to move out of our dream home into an apartment in another province so that I could fight this court case in another province to go there. It took 5 years out of my life. In the meantime, in the end, I did win. However, the business that I started, I also lost. What happened was people came along, showed interest in it. They wanted 50% of the take, but unfortunately, they were not willing to pay for it. And they were using gangster style techniques to make me give in on the business. And they won. I gave in, and I did not want to get involved with anything that was not ethical. And that certainly wasn't. So I ended up getting a corporate job. And this is where I started to take control of my life. First thing I asked myself is why I'm here. And I need you to answer this question for yourself. Why do you go to work? People always answer me around the world to make money. Then I want you to learn a technique that I use as a questioning technique. We call this the rule of 3 plus. The rule of 3 plus is very simple. You never accept somebody's first answer. You listen to the answer, you question the answer. You listen to the answer, you question the answer. You listen to the answer, you question the answer. You dig deep. And when you dig deep, you get to the truth. So why do you go to work? To make money. Make money to do what? To have a certain lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle? Well, what we're going to find out is your lifestyle is going to be different from somebody else's. And the more I question your lifestyle, the real reason you go to work is because you have a dream. However, you don't realize it, and many people don't, that work is nothing but a stepping stone to helping you get where you want to go. The problem is most people don't know where they want to go. At age 30, I asked myself, why am I here? Well, I need 15 years to get out of debt, to get myself back on my feet. All right, so let's pretend it's 15 years from now. What do you see? Well, I'm either a senior executive in this organization and I retire with an index pension plan, or at age 45 I leave and I become a professional speaker and a sales trainer. Well, guess what? I used my organization to help me get where I wanted to go. I got all the credentials. I got the training in adult learning. I got a diploma in that. I got certified as a master trainer. I managed to sit in. They created a sales training department, and I managed to sit in on over 40 of the world's top sales training programs so that I could select one for the organization. At that same time, of course, I did a best practice research and created my own system out of it. From there, of course, I ended up in the Learning Institute. And as a certified master trainer, I would find the programs, I would get certified on them, and I would train 90 trainers to train 56,000 employees across Canada. By age 45, I developed the confidence, I believed in myself, and I took the biggest risk of my life. I left a 6-digit job so that I could go out and make a difference in the world. And I remember my goals quite clearly. I want to make a difference in the world while I see the world, preferably first class, on expenses while making big US dollars. I'm proud to tell you that I accomplished all of that and more, and I'm most thankful for it. But some of my successes besides that, I've been happily married for 38 years. We own our riverfront home and income properties. Both my sons are university graduates and successfully self-employed. Now, not only have they traveled the world with me, they traveled many of the parts of the world without me. At age 18, they both took a year off and traveled and found themselves. I have worked and visited over 45 countries in 16 years. I've shared the stage with Robert Kiyosaki, Brian Tracy, and many, many other speakers. I've spoken to audiences as many as 10,000 participants. I've had my books translated and into 10 languages and distributed in over 15 countries. I've worked with many Fortune 500 companies such as Bombardier, Bulgarian Rome, Dubai Properties, Imperial Oil, AIA Insurance, Emirates Airlines, Emirates Banks, Maastricht Bank. I've worked with organizations all over the world, and I am so fortunate and so thankful for those experiences. Today, my lifestyle is I work on my own terms. I have time and money freedom. I travel the world. I've enjoyed living the life of my dreams, and I want to make a difference in the perception of the sales professional. I believe, as I mentioned earlier, that this is by far the most important profession of all professions. Unfortunately, it is also the least respected. And this is where we need to make the change. Salespeople today are no longer in need because we can buy everything on the internet. Why would we want to have a salesperson when the buyer themselves think of salespeople as a waste of their time? Our jobs are about to become extinct. Our profession's about to become extinct if we don't change the way we do business. And what we need to do to change business is we've got to add more value to the buyers. By giving them more value, we in turn will get more business. And it's value they're looking for. Now, I don't mean value by doing dog and pony shows. That's a waste of time. Value are simple things like listening to the buyer, understanding the buyer, and not wasting the buyer's time. And if you can't help them, telling them, sorry, I can't help you. But we'll get into all this shortly. The thing is this is the best profession in the world. The world revolves around sales. Without sales, there's no transactions. Without transactions, there's no revenue. Without revenue, organizations would not exist and no one would have a job. We are the most important profession in the world, but we have to change our ways. Also, I'd like to think I'm making a difference in the world as a certified social entrepreneur. I don't need the funds anymore, but I have such a passion for what I do and such a passion to change this reputation of sales professionals that I also want to make a difference in the education of kids who do not have that education. In the past, I've adopted a village in Sri Lanka, and I was financially responsible for 700 children who survived the tsunami. I continue to provide support in these areas, and I will continue to today. Today, I will share with you how I've been able to create the life of my dreams, so that you too can live yours. Because that's what it's all about. It starts with you. You, believe it or not, are the most important person in the world. So let's take a focus at some of the sales challenges you're facing today. And I'm sure you're seeing all of these things come up. You know, from buyers being more resistant. Salespeople are lacking a sales system. They don't have a process to follow. And what happens when you don't have a sales system to follow, you end up following the buyer system, which puts them in total control and you totally out of control. There's more competition today than ever before. You know, and this is where you've got to find your position against that competition and know how to deal with them. Cash flow isn't what it used to be. Sales cycles are now longer than they ever before. And what you're finding is we're going to share with you a way how to shorten those sales cycles. People are complaining about their margins are eroding. Their bottom line is going beyond projections. And the list goes on and goes on and goes on. And the more I listen to clients on what some of the issues are, this is where we step in, teach them how to think differently, do things differently, and we reach the success and the bottom line they are getting. Now, I get good questions everywhere I go, and I see they're coming in now, so please continue to add questions there, and I will get to them right at the end of the call. So please continue to type them in. Now, why are we facing these challenges today? Well, there are really a couple of problems. One is most salespeople are still following the same old traditional sales methods. They go in and it's all about them, their company, their products, their services, their features, their benefits. In other words, it's me focused, not necessarily buyer focused. In today's economy, the buyer is first. Yes, you are the most important person in the world, but without a buyer, you're nobody. When you think of it from sales, when you have a buyer in front of you, who's the most important person now? You are the buyer. For those of you who might have said it's the wrong answer. The buyer is the most important person in the world. So what we need to do is appeal to the buyer and their needs. And later we'll talk about the 4 universal needs of buyers, because that is something you need to know. So traditional sales methods, where you go in and do your dog and pony show, you discount your price. You discount your price because you don't believe in the value that your product offers. So you're eroding your margins and you're giving it all away. I recently wrote an article. Do you think that you're adding value by dropping your pants and showing everything you've got? Too many salespeople are doing this right now. They're dropping their pants, showing everything they've got, and not really customizing their presentation or their sales pitch or their prescription, if you like, based on the client's needs, budgets, etc. Now, the other problem is traditional sales methods are all out there, but a lot of the sales training today is traditional as well. I can remember, would have been now 16, 17 years ago when I went through and analyzed these 40-some sales trading companies around the world. I found that most of them were still the same old traditional stuff. And what I found is very few were advanced and moving forward in the right direction. And this is why you have to look at avoiding traditional sales training. Today, what I'm finding is a lot of people want one-day seminars. One-day seminars they think is going to change their life and put them on track. Well, in one-day seminars, sure, I can give you a lot of information, but you're going to be brain dead at the end of one day. Ask some of the people were attending my seminar in Kuwait. It was overload. I have so much content that I want to share and I want to give you that I find it challenging to give it to you all in one day. And if I give it to you all in one day, it's going to be overwhelming. And then to make things worse, you will forget all of it within 30 days. Now, The other thing is, of course, a lot of these people think that they could learn techniques in the seminar room. Did you learn how to ride a bicycle in a seminar? Well, I could tell you, you're not going to learn this system in a seminar either. The only way to learn it is to learn a little bit, go out in the real world, apply it, come back, learn a little more, go out, apply it. And so it has to be continuous learning. And this is the way training has to go down. Continuous, where it goes on daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. You define it, but it has to be continuous and an ongoing process. So take a look at the way you're doing your sales training and consider looking at that option. And of course, we already talked about it. You know, you're me focused and you're target focused. There's so much pressure on salespeople today to meet their target that they're focusing on their target. They're focusing on closing the deal, which causes them to lose patience. And they're focusing on all the wrong reasons for making a sale. They should be focusing on the buyer and first determining if there's an opportunity to do business or not. And if not, don't waste your time, don't waste their time, move on to the next client. And we'll talk about more of that later. So the solution to this is the 4 steps to success. We created the buyer-focused velocity selling system based on the 4 basic components of ABCD. Attitude, the foundation of all successful people. Behavior, your bottom line. The competencies of following a sales system, and the discipline. Discipline is a commitment to the most important person in the world, meaning you have to do what you have to do, even when you don't want to do it. So just do it. So let's walk through the buyer-focused velocity selling system. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share only a few components of it with you, things that I feel that could be of value to you immediately on this call, because I want you to get value from this today. However, we don't have a day, we don't have a week, we don't have a month, and we don't have a year right now to share everything with you. However, we have come up with a solution for that, and we will make it affordable and accessible for you to be able to have that. So when we take a look at attitude, we look at your belief from within. Behavior, your bottom line, the competencies, and the discipline. However, in attitude, we break it down into 3 components. Right at the focal point, right at the point, the bullseye, is your attitude towards you. Then we look at your attitude towards your organization and your attitude towards buyers. Right now, I just want to share some things with you on your attitude towards you. You see, your attitude stems from your beliefs. If you don't believe in you, will the buyer believe in you? And this is where we need to take a look at some things. What I share with you here is something called Know Your Rights. You as a human being have 10 rights, but I'm going to share with you just 3 of them really quickly. The first one is, do you have the right to ask? I get that answer all over the world. People say yes. So I ask again, why don't you ask more often? And what's the answer I get? Fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. So let's understand something here. If I don't ask, what's the answer? There's no answer. If I have the courage to ask, what are the odds of getting a positive response? 50% yes, 50% no. Am I not better off asking? At least by asking, I get a 50% chance of getting a positive answer. And if I get a no, did I lose anything? How can you lose something you never had in the first place? And when you look at it this way, don't you think that's the way it should be? And when you take a look at the acronym ASK, A-S-K, and you know it, this has been around for over 2,000 years. A stands for ask. And what happens when you ask? Ask and you will receive. S, seek and you will find. Knock for K, and the door will be open. When was the last time you sat down and asked the most important person in the world, what do you want out of life? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? Because only then, when you know what you want, will you be able to go seeking those opportunities. And it's in the seeking that those opportunities, you attract them into your life, and they come right in front of you. And then, of course, you got to have the courage to knock or ask. You don't knock, the door's not going to be open. You don't ask, you don't get. You have the right to ask. And this whole system is based on that foundation. If you don't ask, you don't get. So allow me to continue. The second one, and this has done a lot of damage to people in life, the word fail. You have the right to fail, do you not? You see, most people will say yes to that. And when I ask the question, why aren't you failing more often? Again, it's a fear. We have to understand fear. We all have fears, but fear is nothing but a state of mind. It only exists in your mind. As a matter of fact, fear, F-E-A-R, stands for false evidence appearing real. It only appears real in your head. And you got to get over that fear by facing it. Now, there's one thing you need to understand about failure. Failure, even the word fail, F-A-I-L, means something very important. Most people, what happens is they go out there, they try something, they fail. They failed and they beat themselves up. They criticize themselves, they lower their self-esteem, they lower their self-confidence, they lower their self-respect. They totally lower their self-worth and hence their net worth. Today, people don't even have the courage to try things. Why don't they have the courage to try things? Because they've been so critical on themselves, beating themselves up, that they don't have the confidence in themselves to take a risk. Well, let's understand failure, because you need to understand this. Success is based on good judgment. Good judgment is based on experience. How does one get experience? Through failure. You got to fail often to succeed once. I was 22 years old when I realized I had a lot of catching up to do. I could do like most people do and think about it. And what happens when you think about doing something? Well, fear sets in. With fear comes indecision. With indecision comes procrastination. With procrastination comes paralysis. And we don't do a darn thing. It's the worst position you could be in. What's the opposite of thinking about it? Just do it, as Nike says. Well, at age 22, I didn't want to be like everyone else. I didn't want to think about things. I wanted to learn. I wanted to do things. So at age 22, I gave myself permission to have 10 learning opportunities per day. Now understand something. What is the outcome of failure? It's a lesson learned. So I gave myself permission to have 10 learning opportunities a day. Permission to go out and try things I never did before and fail at them. Now here's the beauty of it. I have failed so much in my life that the odds are now in favor of my success. But let's understand what I did. When I failed, I didn't beat myself up like everyone else does. I built myself up. I didn't lower my self-esteem, my self-confidence. I increased my self-esteem and my self-confidence, and I increased my self-worth and my net worth. And I did that simply by doing this. When I would fail, I would seek out the lesson learned. The minute I got a lesson learned, I would tap myself on the back and congratulate myself for having the courage to try something I never did before. Keep up the good work, Bob. And that's how I built myself up. And that's what you need to do as well. Because you see, you were a 10. You came into this world as a miracle, a perfect 10. And here's what happened to us, and allow me to share my BFAR system with you. I believe we came into this world as equal human beings, regardless of race, religion, color, nationality, sex, title, or role. All equal human beings. But we got exposed to the outside world, to family, to religion, to education, to friends, to politics. We've taken the outside world and we've internalized it. In turn, we have become who we are today. We've created our own fears, our own barriers, our own limitations. Now it's time to clean these things up. You're an adult now. You should be able to distinguish between fact and fiction, what's real about you and what's not real about you. And this is the foundation that we start you on. We need to build a strong you. We need to get you back up to a 10, because wherever you are in your life right now, that is the number that's on your forehead. And that's what people see and read. And if you don't believe in you, if you don't believe in your organization, your products, your services, your team, or the buyer, you're not going to perform any greater than that number you have in mind. So allow me to share the BFAR system with you, because you see, it all starts with our beliefs. What do you believe about you? Because your beliefs, your beliefs determine your attitudes. Your attitude determines how you feel. How you feel determines the actions you take. The actions you take determine the results you get in life. Now, I'd like to share a few stories around this, but unfortunately, we don't have the time. I need you for now to think about this. Do you want to continue to lead your life from the outside in, or do you want to lead your life from the inside out? I hope you pick the latter, because success is on the inside. Motivation is on the inside. Everything you need, you have it all within you. All you need is a little guidance to help you get you there. And that's what we do extremely well. We build a solid foundation from which you can succeed on. Once we have that solid foundation, we then take a look at your behavior. And again, behavior, your bottom line. These are the things you do on a daily basis, your habits. You do. And we want to make sure that you replace your ineffective habits with effective habits. So the first thing we do is we have you set personal goals. Not just dreams, but we get you to write them down on paper. We take you through the whole process of grouping them, categorizing, prioritizing. We set you up with a goal log and all the elements of a goal log with forms, monitoring and tracking forms, so you have a simple form to stay on top of your daily behaviors. We help you take your decade goals, break them down into years, take your years, break them down into quarters, your quarters down into months, your months down into weeks, and we take your weeks and we break it down into what we call your daily behaviors, the things you need to do each and every day to help you get where you want to go. But first, we need to help you know where you want to go. Not just today, tomorrow, next week, but in the long term as well, as I did when I was 22 and planned out my life to age 50. From there, we're going to take a look at your organizational goals and how you can achieve your business goals. We take a look at call to close ratio, pay time versus no pay time, all the different behaviors that you need so you know exactly what your behaviors are on a daily basis that will help you reach your goals. And then, of course, we take a look at your behavior towards your buyers and how to attract buyers. And what I'm going to do is share a little bit with you there because I think this will help everybody. We call this the ABCs of targeting. And what we look at is the old 80-20 rule. Now, A stands for absolute. They are, and I'll just put them all up here on the screen so you can see the whole process here, and then we can talk about them. When we take a look at your A buyers, 20% of them are your absolute best buyers, giving you 80% of the revenue. And then you have B and C, beneficial and convenient. If you're in the airline business, A is your first class and business class. B would be your economy class. C would be your seat sale. Now, when I ask audiences all over the world, you know, which one's the biggest pain in the butt? A, B, C. Everyone says C. So I said, that's true. Now, which one wants the biggest discount? And they say C. And I said, that's true. Now, what happens if A finds out that C got a bigger discount than you did? Well, obviously, you would lose your A customer. Then I asked this question. Where do salespeople spend 80% of their time? And guess the answer is C. Where should salespeople spend 80% of their time? Well, obviously, where you get 80% of your revenue. And this is where people need to put their focus. So what we do is we teach them how to create criteria to identify A, B, and C customers by reviewing your database, identifying A, B, and C based on certain criteria, and then, of course, focusing on A buyers, mapping them out in the profiling your A buyers, and then mapping them out in the marketplace and putting plans of action in place so that you can attract A buyers and get you better ROTI. By the way, on the bottom, we got the word ROTI. Again, another acronym, R-O-T-I. And I'm not talking about Roti Prata, the Indian bread, which I love so much. Here, I'm talking about return on time invested. People think money's the most important thing that can get. No, money comes, money goes. Time just goes. That's all you've got in this life is time. And I'm always looking for ways to help people get a better return on their time invested. I don't like to waste people's time. If anything, I want to make sure they get good value. And again, I always try to customize it to the needs according to that value. So the questions are coming in, keep them coming in, and I'll be addressing them at the end of the seminar. And I see a number of good ones there, but I got to stay focused to get through this on our time. So A, B, and C, we look at that. One of the other things we need to do is take a look at your strategies. What are you doing to regain lost A and B customers? How are you retaining your A, B, and C customers? And of course, what's your gain strategy? What's your plan to attract buyers? And this is where we help you create what we call a personal marketing plan. Because here's the secret. Before anybody is going to buy your company or your products or your services, they have to buy who? Yes, they have to buy you. You are the product. Now, if you're the product, your company's got a marketing plan. What is your marketing plan? What are you doing to position yourself as an expert in the marketplace so that people come looking for you by name? This is where we teach you the basic pull strategy as opposed to the push strategy. This requires different behaviors from what you're used to doing in the past, but it will give you the best return on your time invested because that's what it's all about. We want buyers chasing you. So from there, we're going to take a look at other things. Before we could teach you the velocity selling system, you have to understand how buyers buy. It's a simple 4-step process, but it puts them in control all the time. And if you don't know how buyers are buying, you're going to fall into their trap. The other thing you need, of course, is to know what the four universal needs of buyers are. Every buyer in the world has these needs. Now, it's very important you understand them and you react accordingly to them. And then, of course, we also take a look at what are the real positive outcomes of a buyer encounter, or call it a sales call. If you go and visit a buyer or a prospect, a client, what are the positive outcomes that come from that call? Well, there are a number of them. Certainly, a yes, getting a sale is one. But we also share with you the importance of getting a no, but that no should come from you. Because is it not your job to reject the client if they're not qualified? And this is where we help put you in control. This is one of the many phases where you learn how to take control. But it doesn't end there. We spend a lot of time on you to help you understand what it takes to be buyer focused, the steps involved, and what you need to do to maintain that focus on the buyer. Then, of course, how to engage buyers, the questioning techniques, and how to use them in your favor so that the buyer feels that they are always in control, yet in reality, you, the salesperson, is in control. So before we can get to the system, we have to master these three things: buyer focused, buyer engagement, and buyer empowerment. Because you see, what we are doing is we're empowering the buyer to buy from you. We're not closing them, they are closing themselves. They are buying. And when you see the overall system and how it works, you'll understand it very clearly. So let's keep going. We look at the four-step buyer-focused velocity selling system. It all starts out in the foundation of building relationships. Then, of course, once we have that rapport, that trust, we could qualify buyer opportunities. We could determine whether there's an opportunity to do business or not. If not, we abort, we maintain the relationship for future business, and we move on to another qualified buyer. If they are qualified, absolutely fantastic. We then prescribe a solution. Now understand here when we say prescribe. Prescribe means a solution that will solve their specific needs within their budget, within their time frame. Nothing more. We have a rule there, which we'll share with you later. The rule is sell today, educate tomorrow, and bring more value to the buyer. And then, of course, the last step is being thankful, maintaining the relationship, because the way this is set up, your buyers will become your secondary sales force. They will be selling for you on your behalf, sending you referrals, giving you introductions, and sending you leads for you to follow up on. Isn't it great to have a secondary sales force? I have managed to build my business over the last 16 years in over 47 countries, and I could tell you not once did I have to go out and sell myself. My business has been word of mouth based on the people who have attended my seminars, the people who have witnessed me and got to know me and became buyers, and we developed a relationship. We stayed in touch through our weekly e-minutes, through emails, through Facebook, LinkedIn, all the other, Twitter, all the rest of it, and this is what made the difference. So let me show you some of these steps. The first thing when we take a look at the buyer focused velocity selling system is to build relationships. Of course, the first thing we need to do is establish rapport. Rapport is all about getting trust. Without trust, we get nothing. So what we do is we teach you the importance of neurolinguistic programming in this. And we show you how words only represent 7% of rapport building. And yet that's where most salespeople are putting their focus, on the words. Not on the tonality, and most importantly, not on the physiology. And it's this physiology, our body language, that speaks louder than words. If you don't believe in yourself, your body's going to come across exactly following that belief. That's why we go back to the foundation and how important it is to build that strong foundation, because your body speaks louder than words. Now, one of the things we do here is the whole idea is to get the buyer to open up. The more they talk, the more we listen, the more we learn, and the more they like us and trust us. Because you see, it's not about us, it's about the buyer. So our first objective is to get them to open up. And what we do is we show you a series of techniques on how to quickly establish trust, how to build that rapport from as quick as a handshake right through to getting them opened up to the point where they don't stop talking. And when you know they're open and just talking openly with you, that's when you know you've got rapport. And that's when you can move on to the next step. The next step is where we qualify buying opportunities. We set the parameters. This technique right here alone, setting the parameters, can shorten your sales cycle enormously. Just listen to what I'm going to say right now. Uh, John and I are having a conversation. John is talking. All of a sudden, I realize I think I've got good rapport here. I'm ready to move on. And here's what I would say. Oh, by the way, John, how much time you set aside for our meeting today? Oh, we got 30 minutes, Bob. Well, John, what is it you would like to accomplish in the next 30 minutes? Well, Bob, I'd like to learn a little bit about you and what you can offer us. Well, that's great, John. I would also like to learn a little bit about you and your organization. Is it okay if we ask each other questions? Sure, Bob. Great, John. Do you mind if I also take some notes? Oh, please do. Oh, by the way, John, I may not be able to solve your problems. I can't solve the world's problems. If I can't help you, is it okay if I tell you no, I can't? And if I can I just tell you yes? And John says, well, most certainly, Bob. I like that. So, John, it's okay to work on yes-no answers and we can eliminate think it over? Because what I find a lot of times is people say think it over and it really means no, and it ends up wasting your time. And the last thing I want to do today, John, is waste your time. Bob, I like that approach. So let's just work on yes-no answers. Well, that's great, John. Would you like to ask the first question, or would you like me to? And you take it from there. And of course, now what we do is we get into what we call leading questions. Leading questions to uncover buying motivators. Buying motivators are the reasons people buy your solutions. One of the exercises you will learn here is to take your solutions and identify, why do people buy it? Does it solve a pain or does it provide a pleasure? Those are the only two emotional reasons why people buy. So your job is to uncover the emotional reasons, the pains or the pleasures to which you have solutions. So the exercise is you list all your solutions, you list all the pains or pleasures that they satisfy, and then you generate questions to uncover the pains or pleasures that your solutions provide. And by asking questions in this direction, you'll be able to take them deeper to uncovering their own problems, which will in turn they will uncover your solution as the best fit. So this is very important. So first we uncover buying motivators. The more buying motivators or the more pains or pleasures that the buyer can be identified with, the higher the price they will pay. Then of course we summarize. So if I understand you correctly, John, you got this issue, this issue, this issue. Have you got a budget set aside to deal with these issues? Yes. Would you mind sharing that with me in round numbers, John? Well, we do have a budget, but I can't share it. Okay, John, I understand that. Are you looking at between 10 and 15,000 or 15 to 20,000? What we just did here is we did a bracketing technique. So what we do is we prepare you with your lines of questioning so that you always have an answer to no matter what question is how it's answered. So if he says yes, you know what to say. Yes, I have a budget. Oh, would you mind share it with me around numbers? No, I don't. Oh, how do you intend on moving forward? Yes, I have a budget, but we can't share it with you. Okay, then you get into bracketing exercises. So the whole idea here is to stay focused on the buyer to uncover their buying motivators, their budget, not your price. People who put money on the table first usually lose, and they leave money on the table. And I wish I had the time to share stories with you on this, where people have paid more because it was their budget, it's their number. And that's what we want here. It has to be their number, their budget, their needs. So we ask questions about dealing with financial ability. And then, of course, decision making. When will you be making a decision? Who besides yourself will be making a decision? And other questions along this ground, so we're very clear on where we're at. Then what we do is we take these buying motivators, financial ability, decision making, and we summarize it. So John, if I understand you correctly, you got this issue, this issue, this issue. You got this much budget set aside to cover those issues. You're prepared to make a decision, and you're the sole decision maker. Is that correct? Yes, Bob. Well, John, do you remember earlier I said to you I'd be honest with you and I'd tell you no if I can't help you and yes that I can? Yeah, I remember that, Bob. That's great. Do you think you can? Well, John, to be honest with you, based on what your issues are and your budget, I'm afraid I can't help you. I do know of someone that may be able to help you. If you like, I could try to introduce you to them or get them to give you a call. But at the present position, based on this and this, I can't help you. I'm sorry, John. But I try to help him out. Get the idea? However, I qualified him. Now I know whether he's qualified, what he is, what his budget is, and I do the opposite. Remember earlier, John, I said I'd tell you no, I can't, or yes, I can help you. Based on what you've said here, I believe I have a solution to your issues within your budget and time frame. Are you still okay? I have a solution for you. I would like to now present you that solution. Are you still okay with giving me a yes or no answer at the end of this presentation? Well, of course, Bob. Okay, great. What we did here is we just got a commitment from the buyer up front to a yes or no answer before you even do the presentation. And then, of course, we don't do a presentation. We give a prescribed presentation, a prescription. We deal with the issues at hand, the 3, 4, 5 buying motivators we identified. We give solutions specific to each of those areas within their budget. And then, of course, along the way, we check their interest. On a scale of 0 to 10, John, 0, this is not the solution for you. 10, this is the solution. If they answer 6 or less, you take the fault. Where did you go wrong? And that rarely happens when you do this properly. And of course, then the next step, if they're 7, 8, or 9, what's it going to take to get you to a 10? But what you're going to find a lot of times, the answer is going to come up as 9. And then you can have a little fun. John, is it fair to say you really work on a scale of 1 to 9 and 10 doesn't exist? And John will say, yeah. And then this is where you empower the buyer to buy. And you say, John, what would you like me to do next? And John says, well, let me get you a purchase order. Here's my Visa number. Or let's sign the agreement. And this is where you're empowering the buyer. And that's what creates the strongest relationship ever. You didn't sell them. You guide them through the buying process. You facilitated the buying process with them. So then what you did is you maintain the buyer relationships. That's the last step, staying in touch, as much as you can, and building that personal relationship to make sure that you get additional business referrals and all. The rule here, of course, is in the prescribing solutions is sell today, educate tomorrow. And this is where, by maintaining the relationship, you sell it today, you follow up tomorrow, you thank them for their order or their purchase, and you share with them all the other features and benefits that come along with the product or service. This is where you bring in added value. It's the added value, those little surprises at the end that come up that makes the biggest difference. Now, the following step, and it's the last step in the process, it's discipline. Doing what you have to do. What we do is we look at discipline again in 3 areas. 1, towards yourself, towards your organization, and towards your buyers. We start with yourself by identifying your most productive time of the day. I happen to be a morning person, so I dedicate 1 hour of my most productive time to meet the most important person in the world. By identifying your most productive time and dedicating 1 hour of your most productive time to the most important person in the world, you start to get major results. So we guide you on this, and not only that, we guide you on the disciplines you need to do on a daily basis to help you get where you want to go. The same procedure applies to your organization. Within the time frame, pay time, no pay time, and what disciplines need to be conducted in certain times of the day, certain days of the week, certain parts of the year, certain periods of the year to get you the results you need in your organization. And of course, your disciplines towards your buyers, how you attract them, how you are perceived by them, and the behaviors you demonstrate to them. These are all part of it. There is a ton of material here, and I know it's a lot. Here's the problem I face with the buyer-focused velocity selling system. Everybody wants one-day miracles, and I'm not a miracle worker. I cannot give it all to you in one day, and I cannot change you around in one day. However, I do know one thing, that through continuous or ongoing learning over time, with real-life application, we could change your attitude, your behaviors. You can master these competencies with discipline, and you can get the results you want, not only for your own life, but for your organization, and be looked at differently by your buyers. The other challenge I have are corporate budgets. Up until 2008, a lot of these corporations were willing to fly me anywhere in the world. I mean, I don't know how many business class trips I've been on to Singapore, to Dubai, to Kuwait, to India, to Iran, to Europe, to Rome, to London, throughout the U.S., even down to Colombia and Bogota. Unbelievable. Today, the budgets aren't there anymore. The other thing, of course, they were paying me up to $15,000 a day to do this. Many of them would take me for 30 days a year, even up to 50 days a year. And we would discount the price down to at least $7,000 a day. It was their number. But once I do work for somebody at that number, it sort of sets a baseline. And it makes it very difficult for me to lower my prices to somebody else. If somebody gives me 50 days at $7,000 a day, how can I give you a day for less than that? How can I give you 30 days for less than that? It's impossible. So I had to deal with those sort of things. The other thing is, today with the recession, it's hardly affordable. And of course, accessible. I can't be everywhere to everybody at the same time. So over the years, I've been thinking about it since 2008. How can I make myself more accessible? How can I make myself more affordable? How can I make myself accessible and affordable to the common salesperson, not just to the corporate big boys? So we came up with a solution. And what I'd like to do is introduce the 12 months of continuous learning through the buyer-focused velocity selling system. It's basically an online or virtual sales training system. Last year, I partnered with Lightspeed VT, the world's leader in interactive video technology. They've got the most advanced platform that allows us to be able to train online, and we are ready to do that right now in over 40 countries. It's proven itself. So who's the system for? Obviously, it's for sales professionals, corporate sales teams, entrepreneurs, business owners, and non-selling professionals. The reason I bring in non-selling professionals because it's not your standard traditional way of selling. This is a way to attract, engage, and empower buyers to buy. And it fits in perfectly with lawyers, dentists, consultants, coaches, speakers. So many people, non-selling professionals, have adopted these systems and are applying it. The challenge is, if you're a sales professional and you've got your traditional ways, you have to unlearn them and relearn them. And this is one of the things. Entrepreneurs, business owners, they need this. Every one of these people, without sales, there's no bottom line. But here's the bottom line. Anyone who wants to learn the foundation up on how to be in control of the sales process, shorten your sales cycles, be sought after, make more money, and much, much more, this is the solution. Now, this system will help you make more sales and, of course, more money. It'll save you time and energy. It'll give you better return on your time invested. You'll surpass your targets and you'll get faster results. You will guarantee your sales to shorten your sales cycle. You will learn how to build trust and gain that trust really quickly. It'll increase your margins and your profits. It'll eliminate objections. It'll increase your bottom line, and it'll do much, much more for you. Now, here's what you get. You get 12 months access to the buyer-focused velocity selling online training system. 12 months access, and these are over 200 individual modules. Me and you, one-on-one. You're looking in my eyes and I'm looking on your eyes through your computer. I share a little bit with you through interactive video. There's a workbook included. You write out the answers, you take your notes. And each module has testing as well. So the idea is to take a module, learn it, do your workbook exercises, apply it in the real world, come back, learn a little more, and it becomes a continuous, ongoing learning system. But here's the bonuses. I'm going to give you a little more. For the next 3 months, I will give you attendance at our group teleseminars, Q&As. And in addition to that, I'll provide you with personal email, Skype coaching for the next 3 months. So this is to help you get online so I can help you get through some of the belief problems you have or some of the hurdles you're hitting in your sales process, and I want to help you get there. Now, there's also ongoing support. You have access to our Facebook group. You have our LinkedIn group that you can become part of, and we just created the top 1% sales professionals group, so you may want to join that as well. We have YouTube and Twitters, and it goes on. But here's what it all looks like. When you take a look at the buyer-focused velocity selling system, the virtual training investment, you're looking at 24/7, 365-day password access. The program sells for $3,500 alone. But we're going to include 3 months of scheduled interactive teleseminars and email Skype coaching. In all, it gets a total value of $10,000. When you compare this to $15,000 a day to have me live, plus the cost of business class travel and 5-star accommodation, I think it's already a great deal. But that's not the deal I want you to look at. We're going to go a little further. For the next 20 minutes, we're going to do a fast start. The fast start, I'm going to give you a copy of the Velocity Selling Coaching Guide. This coaching guide will teach you how buyers buy, and it'll give you that edge on them so that you could see the traps that you get caught up in, how to avoid them. So that's one thing I'm going to throw in. But here's the real bottom line. Real world value is $10,000, and it is a risk-free investment. I'm not going to give it for $10,000. I'm not even going to give it to you for $5,000. I said I want to make this accessible and affordable to all, and I will. Not even $4,000, not even $2,000. I'm going to make it very simple. We're looking at $197 a month, and you have access for 12 months or more if you like. But what you're looking at is $197 a month. But still, I want to make it more affordable and more accessible to you, because I don't expect you to go out and spend a couple of $100 a month on something that you have not witnessed or seen. So what we've done here is we created a $7 for 7-day trial. For 7 days, you can access all the learning modules. You could take it all in 7 days, and I wish you a lot of luck in trying to take it all in the next 7 days. At least by going in, you will see what it's all about. You'll feel it. You'll see the way it works. You'll see the workbook exercise. You'll see the testing. You'll see the tracking, the monitoring. You'll be able to witness the whole system for only $7 for 7 days. $1 a day. Not even a cup of coffee. Think about it. What's your career worth? What's your life worth? Is that not a small investment and a low risk? So just go to the site, velocityselling.com/order, and try our 7-day trial for $7. But in addition to that, I want to tell you something. This is a zero risk. There's no questions asked. 100% satisfaction guarantee or your money back. Try this program for up to a full year, and if you don't double your sales, then let us know, and we'll give you a full hassle-free refund. I read it out to you. You've got a copy of it there, and it's also there as well. So here's the thing. Go to velocityselling.com/order and join us for the 7-day trial. And all of a sudden, I'll be sending you additional bonuses with it. Go today, velocityselling.com, and to your order. Now, what I'd like to do is go over to the questions and see what we've got and answer any questions that anybody has. Now, let me just see here. Looks like quite a few, and I'm going to have to scroll down. Okay. Customers don't trust what I'm selling. Customers don't trust what I'm selling. Is it what you're selling, or is it what you're trust? They don't trust you. It's a clarification question. Someone has mentioned here, customer doesn't trust what I'm selling. Well, I don't know if it's the product or it's you, or maybe it's your misbelief in the product, but we've got an issue there, and that's something we need to talk about. Our customers are conservative to some extent, so it's very difficult to build a relationship with them. Well, it's difficult to build a relationship with conservative people if you continue to make it all about yourself. Put that all aside. Put your company, your products and services aside. Put a focus on building a relationship and getting the rapport. Even with the most conservative people, the biggest of introverts, people who don't open up, just by treating them as human beings and showing interest in them, get them talking about themselves, the things they like to talk about, and you'll see they will start to open up and they'll gain that trust. That is the first step, and this is where most salespeople fail. Now, people, a question here: how quickly can I get this through the program? Well, that's a good question. A big question I have for you is how much time are you willing to dedicate to it? The way it's set up is you could probably get it done in 6 months, maybe even 3, if you work at it hard every day. But we don't want you to do it every day. We want you to learn something and apply it, master it. Apply it in the real world to master it. If you master it and you could feel comfortable with it, go on to the next lesson. Again, learn it, apply it in the real world, come back and learn again. So that's perfect. Can I master it online? Well, it's like I just said. A big part of it is you have to apply it in the real world. You didn't learn how to ride a bicycle in a seminar. It's the same thing here. You learn the lessons, you get the feeling for it, you know what you got to do, and then, of course, you go out into the real world and you make it happen. All right. Once I'm a member of the Velocity Selling group, what kind of support will I have on an ongoing basis? Well, that's a good question. That's a key thing. We're here for support on an ongoing basis with you. Not only do we provide you with monthly teleseminars, webinars, we are here to answer your questions on an ongoing basis. In addition to that, I am providing you with email coaching along the way. And if necessary, and if you want to do it on Skype, we could schedule a call and do it there. So we want to keep hearing from you some of the issues, because that's how we learn to better satisfy you. You are our buyer. We need you, the buyer, and we will work within your means to help you get where you want to go. But we need to hear from you. So that's a good one. Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Okay. Is it an innovation solution? Oh, it's a very innovative solution. I think once you get into the system, you will see how innovative this is. If you could take a look at it, only $7 for 7 days. It's a trial offer. And if you're interested, you could carry on the monthly program. If you're not, you're free to cancel it and walk away. And it's perfectly okay to say, no, it's not for me. I cannot solve the world's problems. I do know that this program has been trained in over 47 countries. And I do know corporations around the world have implemented it with great success after a minimum of 30 days interactive training throughout the course of a year with me live. We have now created all that online so that we can make it accessible and affordable to everyone. Go in yourself. It's only $7 for 7 days, and you could see yourself what it's all about, and then you could make your decision at the end of a week or at the end of 7 days. Okay, what is the coupon code for the trial? The total it shows is $197. It thinks it will charge. No, it's not 107. What we did for this promotion is we put it on the front end. You will only be charged $7, not $197. It's a $7. That page, we had some technical issues earlier selling it, but the promotion, and I guarantee it, is $7. $7 for 7 days. And at the end of 7 days, if you want to continue, it will automatically go to $197 monthly. If you want to cancel, you simply cancel and it's over. It's $7 for 7 days is the offer. The coupon code is for other times where we can add a coupon code and discount it, but we're not doing that. We're providing you with the 7 day, $7. That is the biggest discount we could go at this point, and we don't see devaluing it. As a matter of fact, we're soon going to be raising the price on this because of competitive pressures. I've had my competitors calling me and saying, how can you sell your program so low? It's affecting us. And I'm looking at it, like I said, I want to make it accessible and affordable to everybody. I have already surpassed my goals. My desire is to help you surpass yours. Can we get this recorded session? Because the connection was disconnected for 10 minutes. Oh boy, I didn't know that. I do recall us recording it, and we will make sure that we make a recording of this available to you. How this program can help a network marketing business. Oh, I tell you something. I have trained many, many network marketing companies around the world. Unfortunately, that training was only a day or two at most. Here's the thing about network marketing. You get so excited about your products and services that you go out talking about them. The simple strategy of qualifying the people you're talking to first to determine if there's a need or not will help you. I highly recommend this for network marketers because it fits in beautifully, and it's a different approach that will give you the edge. I suggest you try the 7-day trial for $7 and see for yourself. $7 is nothing to get 7 days of training. Would you agree? Try it out, and if you're not satisfied, cancel it, and that's perfectly all right. Bob, did you see the question read the code to use? Yes, I did. The coupon code. The coupon code, you don't need to enter the coupon code. There's no code for this particular program. It's there as part of the system that's been created for the sales page, but there's no coupon code. You should be going, if you go to velocityselling.com, if you go to velocityselling.com on the code that we have, /order, it should pop up to the $7 for 7 day $7 for 7 day offer. So that's Velocity Selling. I'm just going to move this up. velocityselling.com /order. So there's no code to be used here. Yes. Okay, we've gone through all the questions. I've also surpassed my hour by about 7 or 8 minutes, and I apologize for that. I did want to get all your questions answered. If anybody has any questions, you'll notice my email address down at the bottom. It's just basically info@velocityselling.com. Feel free to ask your questions offline, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. I hope you enjoyed this past hour. I certainly appreciate you investing your time with me over the past hour, and I hope that I was able to give you a good return on your time invested, and I hope that you will also take a look at the system. Get inside it. $7 for 7 days is an extraordinary offer. There's no risk involved. You could cancel at any time. Give it a try. See what it's all about. And if you like what you see, join us on a monthly basis, and I look forward to talking to you very soon and setting you up with all the other bonuses that we offered to you. Thanks again for your time. We'll call it a day, and I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you and communicating with you again very soon. Thank you.